Hey, what's going on, internet people? We just gonna start this off right off the bat. You might be killing your Smite games and just not even know it, okay? And in this one, we just gonna jump right into it, and I'm just gonna have a discussion about this because I've been seeing this a lot lately. This is pre-patch and current patch, okay? So with the pre-patch, and this is going even beyond that. A lot of people are starting to get into this mode or this mindset to where playing off role is viable because of many factors that doesn't make sense. And that means you're playing off role because you didn't get your role, or you think you can kind of build a niche build that you might see somebody on the tutorials play, or yourself just messing around in your rank games. All right. So I got Vulcan here. I'm going to showcase this, and this is going to go off just aspects because of me. I think the aspects are great addition to Smite 2. However, I think with the aspects, they give you a different playstyle for some gods that does not give you the green light to build them outside of their role. Okay. So, aspect of fortification for Vulcan gives you protections and health regeneration. Now, I kind of messed around with this aspect. It does give you decent protections. I think it's like 30 on magical and physical. In addition to that, I think it bumps you up as you level, and I think it goes to about 20 health regen, something like that, which is pretty good. Like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, you get prots from your turns being around you. I think your allies get this as well. That's cool. Okay, the free prots, the health regeneration, awesome. Here's the problem. Your turns are very weak. They do negligible damage because they scale off of your int, okay? Turret doesn't do that much damage at base, even with the 40 int scaling. Now, if this increased your turret damage, that'd be, maybe we'd be having a different conversation, but because this does nothing for turrets other than makes them these medic plots that people can stand around, and even with the certain mods you can place on Vulcan with those turrets, it still does not equate to having a hard tank, either that be a support god or a viable just run-of-the-mill warrior. Okay, even then it gets a little shaky, but still it does not overthrow that. Okay, so not only do you not get anything added to the turrets, which the turrets kind of feed off of this passive. In addition to that, you also have backfire magma bomb get lower scale damage scaling. This drops, I believe, to let's see if it. Nope, it will not. Let me toggle this. Nope, it will not show it. I believe backfire drops to about 45%. And magma bomb drops to like 50. And yes, you can buy the mods to bump that back up to 30 and 30 int scaling. However, that still, you're not going to do that damage because, again, it scales off of your int. The added 30 base to this only makes this 310. That's still negligible. On top of that, there are many other options that you can go that just are much better. You have crowd control gods, CC gods that just lock people down. I mean, the list goes on, and you're trying to force certain gods to fit those roles because you want to, believe me, I understand. You want to enjoy the game. You don't want to be locked into a role sometimes. Unfortunately, this is not that kind of game. You're going to get locked into some roles you're not going to like, and that's just how it works. Maybe get some friends, maybe get a crew together, at least one more other person, try to bounce back and forth, all that good stuff. Some people are just not going to switch with you, and in ranked games especially, it's just not going to happen. So, with all that being said, here's an example of why I'm saying that you're ruining your Smite games here, all right? We already talked about Vulcan. Him being a tank is not viable because all the tank items, his kit just does not go off of tank. It does not backfire. Negligible because it's being reduced by your aspect. Inferno Cannon, again, this is not going to do it because you're not building any real int items if you're building tanky. Now that's the other thing. I'll see some supports and solos build damage. The whole purpose of this MOBA and in this game mode of Conquest, you need everybody to fulfill that role. Just because it's a solo lane and you're solo fighting another person does not mean that you're going to be like that the entire game. It just is not going to happen. So when you build all that damage, when you get to late game, if an assassin, a tank, any of them see you and they see that you're building damage, they're not going to be worrying about the one tank. They're just going to CC you down and kill you. And then you're out of the game. And then now the one tank has to somehow fight off the entire squad because we have no front line. I've seen this happen. I've experienced this happen, and it keeps happening. I don't know why people think this is an okay thing to ruin the game for not only themselves but their teammates and just give people free wins. I don't know if that's a new thing going on, but it's just happening quite often, especially with this new patch because it added some items, changed some items. I think now it removed anti-heal to where you can just build anything you want, and so now that's let's let people go just run wild with it because of some of the items that were added kind of added a lot of lifesteal, which even then, because of the fact that, you know, there are no anti-heal items, everybody just thinks building lifesteal is just the way to go. And it's, again, the trade-off with building lifesteal is you don't have a lot of base damage. That's the trade-off. So the sustaining you think you're going to get from lifesteal is not going to be enough. And that's, again, that's going off of this current patch, not pre-patch. Okay, so just real quick, I'm going to go into the God Builder and I'm going to show just some items that usual tanks go, and then you're going to compare this to an actual tank. Okay, I'm just going to briefly buy some items. I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds here. All right, because we're just going to run through this because I'm seeing this so it's quite often, and it's not really helping. Especially in Smite game. So usually if you're going support, you're in the carry lane. You want to go with a base to start, right? You can go Prophetic, you can go Freya's Tears, Draconic Scale. I mean, you can go any of these items. It just depends on really what you're defending. If they have more intelligence-based characters than strength-based characters, you want to swing the pendulum towards either or, depending on what they have more of. Typically, if they have everybody in their role assigned correctly, even though they have a 3-2 split, because again, your support's magic, your mid's magic, and generally speaking, that's the only two mages and everyone else is physical. So you're typically going to build more physical. It just, sometimes people go off role and they build mages and solo lane. I mean, again, it's just kind of like at this point, just kind of build what you need to for that role you're playing. So starting off, you always want to start off with some cooldown. I mean, Freya's Tears is solid. You can always go, let's see, Draconic is always solid for stacking. You want to go ahead and build, whoops, wrong thing. Like I said, they're going to be, I kind of go and swing in a little bit in the middle at the start, and then you kind of lean more into what side, physical or magical, you want to kind of pick up. Pharaoh's Curse, very solid item. Let's see. If they got crit, you definitely want to go anti-crit. I mean, that's straightforward there. And, I mean, that's also an optional item, again, if they're building crit. All right. If you want to be more team-based, absolutely go ahead and get Purification Beads, purify the whole team. Solid item. And then the last one, I mean, this can be a flavor item if you choose to do so. Typically, I don't see it that much, but I mean, you can always go Void Gem. Helps reduce the protections because as a tank, you're going to be in the front line, you're going to be near the enemies, and you're going to reduce their magical procs by 50%. I mean, it's pretty solid. I mean, there are some, again, optional items, but I'm not going into that aspect of it. I'm just showing just a typical build, right? All right. So in the God Builder, as you can see, you have 40 intelligence from Voidstone. You have a good attack speed bump. You have 207, 214, and max health of 3702. Okay, 30 cooldown rate. All that sounds phenomenal, right? And of course, this changes if you do get Vulcan's passive. All right. Here's the thing that happens a lot when you play off roles in this aspect. You have no CC. You have no damage. You only have 40 intelligence. All the Vulcan's abilities scale off int. So not only do you have low int, now you also are just have no CC. Your Mango Bomb's not gonna cut it. If they made some mods that were more tailored to CC for this aspect, then that would be fantastic. They just don't have it. So yes, you are tanky. Yes, you can sort of do tick damage from your thumper turret, from your regular turret. You can definitely buy mods. This is kind of a shrapnel mod. You know, you definitely go in efficiency mod. You can even throw down this surplus mod and get 2 turrets, Inferno Cannons. The problem is again, your Inferno Cannons do not have a super amount of health. In addition to that, they are stationary. If they followed you around, I mean, these are just some ideas I'm throwing out there. Like, maybe it could make it better, but it just is not the case. So you don't want to, it just doesn't make sense to do so. And yes, I do see a lot of people go different gods. I mean, I do see a lot of Baron Samedi supports. Baron Samedi, where is he at? Where is he at? I mean, he is a solid god for support. That's perfectly fine in certain areas, but he is not a permanent support. You do not want to play Baron Samedi every game because Baron Samedi has no escape. He's just as stationary as Vulcan. So if people are playing correctly, you're gonna get burst down. Okay, and also too, it does not help that Baron doesn't even have an aspect. So I mean, you're just running kind of. I mean, he has an aspect now. I correct myself. He does have an aspect now. They did update that, but again, there's just even with the aspect that does add a little bit more damage to his abilities. This is more of a damage Baron Samedi than a base CC Baron Samedi, because again, your Vivid Gaze, your Hysteria, Wrap It Up doesn't even, you know, it just changes his whole kit. So base Baron Samedi, yes, he has a little bit more CC. He has good sustain from his 2 abilities. Does okay damage. I mean, considering that's a 330 base with 70 int, it's just, again, you get away with it in a few games. However, it's not going to happen all the time. So I just want to go over that. Now, here's a better option that a lot of people kind of overlook when they play their gods, or they get assigned their roles. Okay, go to Ymir. Just plain old base Ymir. Been in the game for the longest time. Everybody should know him. Here's why Ymir stands above Vulcan and even Baron Samedi. 1, has lane control with his wall. Very solid CC item. Already, he controls a lane, and if you use this ability correctly, you can trap people, and they cannot escape unless they have a jump, leap. They can phase through walls by using an item, wasting that, because this item, again, 13-second cooldown at base. So you can control the lane and the flow with this ice wall. Okay? Glacial Strike. Solid base, int, and strength. Slows and slow duration. So already there's CC built into this kit. Similar to Baron Samedi, however, this is a 6-second cooldown. Baron, if you don't build cooldown, I think he has a base. I think this goes to 11 for Wrap It Up, and that's a long cooldown for somebody. For a CC ability, anyway. That kind of works if you not only land it, but also, unless they're standing on top of each other's shoulders, the explosion to CC down the whole team doesn't really happen as much. So again, solid ability for a good CC god. Second one, freeze breath, or self-explanatory, stuns him, 1.6 seconds. Base damage is, not that big a deal. Has a high cooldown, but I mean, you can build cooldown. Like I said, that's fine. Then you got your last ability, okay? One thing that I want to note about Vulcan tank or any other tank god that you decide to play in support role, you have to play with your team. You cannot just run at people and let, troll your team by you running face first in the battle. Your team is trying to catch up to help you do damage, or you just start chasing people down. You're stringing along your team, which is putting them in an awkward position because they have incorrect positioning. You can go as a tank where they can't most of the time because you take less damage, meaning you're not going to get burst down as effectively as a mage or an ADC is. So you have to play with your team. You have to be the brunt of the damage. That means you have to know how to bulwark yourself and not be so far ahead of the team that somebody, assassin, jungler can come around and gank somebody, and it just trolls your team. Okay? But something I wanted to point out with his ult specifically. His ult, and this goes for synergy, and I think I'm going to do a video about synergy as well. His ult synergizes with his whole kit. Vulcan and any other god does have some synergy with their kit, but him specifically, he has an entire kit that synergizes with his ult. You can throw it on your wall, block somebody in, you can slow them with your 2, even freeze them. Your ult does 1350 base. 160 int scaling, so it's even stronger than Vulcan's in a sense. Yes, it has a 3-second charge up time to get 100% of the base damage, but it also bases off your protections. So it now is complementing your protections on top of your intelligence. So it's making it even more effective. Not only that, but it provides a 40% slow. So if you hit them with your 2 and then hit them with your ult, they're moving so slow that they cannot walk out of your ult unless they jump it, beads it, or Aegis it. Here's 2 items that make this ability almost one-shot any mage squishy that just does not pay attention, okay? These are 2 items that just synergize with one another. Those items, real quick. Where's the magical? Whoops. There we go. Void Stone. And for the next one, these 2 right here. Void Stone, we already know, reduces magical protections by 50%, and you're going to be a tank, so you're going to be standing on people, hitting them in the face with your hammer or whatever you're using. Gives you some intelligence and gives you magical procs. Synergizes with your ult already synergizing. Next one, 20 physical and magical, synergizing with your ult. In addition, gives you some cooldown. Why do these 2 items make this do so much damage? Well, you're reducing their physical magical protections by 50. That's the first thing. Second thing is, on top of that, when you pop this item, you explode dealing 40% of your protection, so you got a full build going on, or close to enough for full build when you build this item, hopefully. You're doing 40% of your protections. Guess what? That's both physical and magical. So combine these 2 and then 40% of that. All right. Once you do that, you slow them by another 25% for 3 seconds in a radius, and you gain a shield of 125% of your protections. When destroyed or timing out, you explode again, doing 70% of your protection. So you basically explode twice, doing magical damage, reducing it by 50, and then if you pop this on top of your ult, if you don't kill a squishy that just has their abilities down, is not paying attention, I would be shocked. Okay? So again, for tanks, I just want to point this out because, again, this is where people are ruining their games. They're playing these off roles where they're doing warrior supports that have no CC or 1 CC ability and causing their ADCs to lose lane because they don't have lane control early game. And so after that, they start getting steamrolled. Same thing happens when you play mages off role. You don't play mages really in solo lane, because if the guy's paying attention, the girl's paying attention, fighting you in lane, they're going to just outmaneuver you, and they're just going to play it back, play it safe, tank up, and then once they tank up, they're just going to beat you down. Granted, they pay attention and they do their lane correctly. So I just wanted to go over that real quick in this little clip here. I know it's a long one than I normally have it, but I wanted to discuss this real quick because this is happening a lot with the new patch, because they think a lot of individuals are assuming that because you can build just about whatever you want, to say removed anti-heal, that means everybody can just build these items and not still synergize. That's not the case. You still have to build items that synergize with your kit. All right. So just want to talk about that real quick. If anybody can, please drop a like, please drop some comments down there. I want to have a discussion about this. I just want to know some opinions. Maybe some people want to argue with me about some things, kind of have a discussion going. Maybe some people agree. Definitely appreciate all the comments, likes, and if you wouldn't mind sharing this with somebody to kind of spread the word. I really want to get this discussion going. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace.